All right, for today's video review, we're going to be taking a look at Masters of the Universe Masterverse New Eternia Man-E-Faces. And yeah, this is a pretty nice figure. I've kind of slowed down on collecting Masters of the Universe stuff. I'm just not really finding myself that excited about stuff once I have it. It kind of just ends up sitting on a shelf unlike Transformers, which I tend to, interact with a bit more. So I've been trying to kind of hold back and really ask myself if I want new Masters of the Universe figures. But Man-E-Faces has always been one of my favorite MOTU characters, just because of like how ridiculous he is with like the big pun name and the ridiculous color scheme. So had to pick this guy up. And yeah, it's a pretty nice figure. Now, the main feature of this guy compared to other previous Man-E-Faces toys is that one of the accessories that he comes with is actually this little briefcase, which is just done with like a bent plastic hinge. So by design, it like immediately stress marks, which is maybe not my favorite design, but it's whatever. And if you open this up, he's actually got 3 additional faces, being all references to things from the cartoon. I'll be honest, I don't really know what this is a reference to, if that's like a mini comics variation or if that's like a specific character that he played in the cartoon. I don't recognize that face, but whatever. And then he's got a skeleton face and then the Keldor face. And yeah, it's a pretty nice little accessory there. Now, if you want, he can obviously hold on to this by the handle, just like this. Or additionally, you could take this and it's got two pegs here that can actually just peg into these 2 ports on his back, so he can carry it on his back like that. And all the faces are the same in terms of like, once you swap them out, any of the faces can go in here in any order. So if you want these 3 faces on him, then obviously you can do that and have the other 3 faces stored in here. But just to show off how that works, it's obviously quite similar to every other Man-E-Faces feature, is that he's got the robot face, the monster face, and the human face. And then what's kind of cool about him too is it actually does the whole thing with his gun being the thing that you can use to activate that. Like, it actually is keyed so that you can plug the gun in and have that be what twists his faces, which is a little bit easier, but usually it's not difficult to just do it with the actual knob itself also. So that's usually what I do, but I do appreciate that they put in the effort to do that. Now, in terms of swapping out the faces, you actually can just take this whole piece off, just the guard here. It clips in the front and the back, and you can see how the faces are there. They're all a little bit variable in terms of like how stuck on there they are. A couple of them I had a really hard time kind of getting off, like especially out of here too, because you really have to like get underneath and pry your fingernails under there. And like if they're stuck in there well enough, that can be kind of a pain. But mostly they've kind of loosened up a little bit. Let's see, the suitcase is just a little bit annoying because it's kind of hard to start with one, and then once you start one, it's a lot easier to get the other ones out. So you can take off those 3 faces and then put on the other 3 faces. I like how the little storage things kind of look like little skulls as well. And then we can take the robot face, put that one down here, and the monster face. Then we'll get these guys on there just so we can see what that looks like. And it's a nice feature that he's got these extra faces. Truthfully, I bought the figure just so I could have a nice sort of updated version of Man-E-Faces that looked like more like a proper character rather than the old kind of like retro vintage style of the Origins figure, which I also love, and I kind of prefer that figure honestly. But it's just a character that I really like. So, yep, that's what the other faces look like. Now, unfortunately, the one feature that a couple other recent Man-E-Faces figures have had that this guy does not have, because of this whole face swap gimmick, is that he actually can't rotate his head independent of the turning faces like the Origins version can, which is really unfortunate, honestly, because it is kind of like a big part of the posability that he is missing. And I feel like the way that the Origins figure did it already kind of set the ground for this being possible. It's really just because like, they wanted to be able to clip in the mask here without it like interfering. But honestly, like they could have just kept this groove go all the way around so that it could just slide, like rotate on the joint. And I think that would have worked fairly well. So I personally, I'm a little disappointed that they didn't do that, because I feel like, you know, it's kind of an easy fix, and it feels like if the figure could have had, you know, like proper head rotation, then it ought to have. But you know, at the end of the day, it's not the end of the world. It's just a little bit unfortunate. But you know, what can you do? In terms of the other stuff he comes with just one additional hand. He just comes with a closed fist for his left hand. I don't know why I'm not able to get him to stand up straight here. I feel like his ankles are not cooperating. Usually he's not too bad. It's just, you know, one of those things, I guess. But so yeah, you can swap it out with the closed fist. Personally, because he's got two accessories that I like him holding, I usually just keep the open fists and call it a day. But, you know, if you wanted him to just hold the gun and then have the actual suitcase on his back, then at least you could, you know, swap it out so that the left hand was totally closed. And, you know, that's a nice feature. I kind of wish that they gave him that for both hands, but at the end of the day, honestly, I probably wouldn't have used them no matter what. I probably would have just left him with the two open hands for the sake of convenience, depending on, you know, how I wanted to display him. And whatever, you know, I like having the options of just having the open hands already there rather than having to go like fish out the open hands to make him hold an accessory. But it, you know, it's nice that he's got the one. Could have had two, but at the end of the day, for me, I probably wouldn't have used either. So what is going on with his ankles right now? They're kind of like they lean a little bit forward. So I find that I have to like tilt him back at the hips a little bit to get him to stand up straight, or like have one foot tilted forward and the other one tilted back. So it, you know, it kind of balances out. Not really something I'd noticed until I started shooting this review, but, you know, that's how it goes sometimes. But yeah, in terms of the rest of the articulation, like I said, nothing at the head aside from the actual, you know, gimmick. And then the rest of it is pretty much just pretty standard Masterverse, you know, articulation. The shoulders are on these joints that can rotate around and go out to the side. It's got bicep swivel, double hinged elbow, which gets a pretty nice curl on him. The wrists are those same joints that just have that, you know, where it pegs in, and then also that separate hinge. He's got that midriff joint there that I think works pretty well on him. I think that, you know, he's one of the figures that has like the least kind of obstructing that joint, and it actually functions pretty well. He's got a waist cut, which seems to stop at a certain point, but, you know, can you turn your waist farther than that? I can't. So that's okay. His hips can go forward only about that far back before it kind of runs into the butt plate and out to the side. He's got a thigh swivel, a double jointed knee, which if you get both of them activated, gets a pretty decent curl there. I also love the metallic blue that they used on the legs here. It doesn't quite match the kind of more matted metallic blue of the headpiece there, but whatever. He also has a boot cut. And then the ankles can, you know, they got that thing where they have that rotation that is kind of keyed to the ankle tilt as well. And then also can tilt forward and back a pretty decent amount. So, you know, obviously pretty standard Masterverse articulation. No real surprises there. But, you know, really the one thing that he's different with is that he doesn't have a head swivel, which is kind of unfortunate, but not the end of the world. In terms of comparisons, just for a standard action figure comparison, here he is with a deluxe class Transformer. Here he is with Masterverse, He-Man, and Skeletor. Technically, these guys are, you know, the Revelation versions, and this guy's New Eternia. So they're not 100% the same aesthetic, but I think that they fit in pretty well together. I'm kind of pleased with that. And then last but not least, here he is with Origins Man-E-Faces and the little Mega Constructs Man-E-Faces. He doesn't have a head swivel either, but I think we can forgive that on a figure of this size. Whereas I feel like he probably should have had it. And it's kind of funny to see like the different, you know, shades of colors that they use for him. Like depicting, you know, the skin, like on this guy is kind of depicted more as like skin, right? Whereas on these guys it's kind of like a more vibrant color, but even then not the same vibrant color, because this guy's a lot more muted because they want to be a little bit more, you know, kind of realistic, I guess, realistic. But yeah, no, I think that they all look good. I really like all three of these figures just for kind of different reasons. But yeah, you know, not a ton else to say about him. I checked my other Masterforce figures and, or Masterverse, Masterforce's Transformers, but, and I didn't really see any shared parts with him. Probably the hands are shared with somebody, or like the feet, but the shin detailing, I thought this might be a shared part with Roboto, but I don't actually think think it is. Obviously, the lower torso is the same as He-Man, but I think pretty sure the rest of it is new, which is nice. It definitely feels all pretty unique to Man-E-Faces. But yeah, like I said, not a ton else to say about it. Just another solid Masterverse figure. Really, my one big complaint with him is that the head doesn't swivel, and then the rest of it I'm pretty much all okay with. I think that he's a fun toy. I like that he comes with the extra faces, yeah, I like the accessories, and yeah, pretty much that's all there is to it. If you enjoy my videos, make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing. I do reviews every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, and without further ado, here we have Masters of the Universe Masterverse New Eternia Man-E-Faces.